Great. So, again, maybe starting with the onboarding piece, I think one of the big kind of future issues or unresolved questions is, what is the right amount of human touch in the process? One of the ways that companies are really trying to streamline and simplify the process is through technology, creating these centralized hubs, using automation to, give employees timelines, to-do lists, reminders, and messages, as well as leveraging chatbots and other automation to answer basic questions that employees might have. Still in many cases, it's largely a virtual process. So, all of these things raise the question of how much kind of how humanized should be this process, how much in-person contact should be involved. And it didn't really seem like there was a clear consensus on this. On the one hand, some companies seem to be emphasizing different types of human contact. For example, some are really emphasizing contact between the new hire and their manager and maybe their HR lead. Others are really trying to build strong relationships between the cohorts of incoming new hires. So, different focus in terms of who they're really trying to create those connections with. I think we're also seeing that there's geographical and cross-cultural differences. So one company, for example, noted that they've already started adding more in-person elements in certain markets like India, where that's really the expectation and demand among employees. They want that in-person socialization. So it seems that there's really not a kind of one-size-fits-all approach, and companies will probably have to flex up or down in terms of the human elements, depending on the market, maybe the employee segment that we're focusing on, et cetera. In the talent development space, I think the interesting kind of open issue is, and it relates to this idea of we're really doubling down on leadership development. But I think where a lot of companies are struggling is how do we assess the quality of our current leadership? We heard a lot of examples where, yeah, we can focus in on certain aspects of leadership, whether that's through our engagement survey, looking at things like our employees getting feedback, for example. Some companies are maybe picking a particular leadership capability that they're really emphasizing in employee leaders' development plans for that particular cycle. But this idea of really doing a comprehensive, holistic assessment of leadership quality seems to be kind of a silver bullet that companies haven't yet gotten to. And so maybe that's not a realistic goal. We'll wait and see. But in terms of really kind of benchmarking where we stand in leadership to really figure out where we need to go with these development efforts, that seems to be a kind of next step in this evolution.
So do you think the assessment piece is more due to the hybrid or work now, the difficulty, or the different capabilities?
I don't think it's really so much about the kind of virtual or in-person, piece. We heard a lot about how that's presenting challenges for leaders in terms of just being effective leaders. I think that's partly the emphasis, driving the emphasis on coaching, because a lot of employees are saying they're not getting as much feedback, they're not getting as much personalized attention from their leaders, they feel somewhat disconnected from their leaders. So I think that's driving this idea of how do we form these more collaborative relationships with our followers. But I think the assessment piece is more just this idea of, yeah, we're really good at kind of drilling down on doing this piecemeal fashion. But if we really want to look across the board and have a real deep understanding of our kind of leadership at a holistic level, that seems to be much more challenging. And if I had to guess from going back to previous working groups I've done on leadership development, partly that may be due to the fact that in many organizations, there's a lot of ambiguity around what is our leadership model, what are the leadership frameworks, what are the leadership capabilities that we really want to emphasize as an organization. If we don't have that nailed down, probably makes it really difficult to figure out where to focus.